Hey, here's another tutorial for you. As always, right down there is a link to my disclaimer. If you've never seen it before, watch that once before you watch my tutorials. It's not very long. Now for this, we'll be using two of the aces. Get about half a deck apiece. And then we have the four queens. We have the red queens for the red ace and the black queens for the black ace. So we'll just put the queens, will go on either side of the aces like so. And those aces with the queens go on top of the packets. So we got the ace with the queen on either side here, and we'll just cut that into the middle there. Same situation over here. Again, we'll just cut that into the middle. Either packet can go on top of the other. Doesn't make any difference. Let's give the whole thing one more cut just for good measure. Now here's the interesting part. You've all heard the phrase opposites attract. If I snap my fingers, you'll see that the aces, there we go, have attracted to them the opposite queens, because opposites do indeed attract. Now, several of you have been asking me for a harder trick. You want to learn something a little more advanced. I'm not opposed to giving you a little more information, though, as I've said, I won't go too far with what I give away. But this one's one I don't mind teaching you. It's a good, slightly harder, but I would still consider this a beginner trick, maybe advanced beginner. It will require a little more work than some of the other tricks, but it's a very nice effect, a little card transposition basically. Start out at beginning, either any red ace, any black ace, doesn't matter which ones you use. Half the deck apiece. There are the four queens. Up to this point, everything is just as it seems. So you're holding the cards like this. You say we have the red queens for the red ace and the black queens for the black ace. And when I separate those to toss them down, I did not actually separate them by color. I took one of each. And that's why I have, well, first of all, since you've only got four cards, it looks a little nicer to have a little wider fan so you can see the large indexes of the suits there, but it's actually helpful for the sleight that you have to do right here. Now, when you're holding the cards in the left hand, you want to have your thumb on this one here, the third from the left, whatever it is in your case. And you should have the colors on the same side as each other. Then when you go to separate the cards, as you bring this up, your thumb hits this one and your middle finger hits this one. So in slow motion, that is what you are actually doing. You're giving the impression that you're just pulling these two off here. And when you do this, you want to be in one nice smooth motion. Oops, I messed it up there. You want it to be one nice smooth motion. You don't want to try and go really fast. That's a common mistake, not just with this move, but when someone's doing a trick and they get to the point where they have to do a sleight, they like. So we have the aces here, and we have the red queens with the red ace. Now let's just separate the queens. And they go super fast, and everything speeds up, and you're telegraphing the move. It becomes fairly obvious that you just did something there that you weren't supposed to, or that other than what you said you were doing. So you need to maintain your tempo and be very casual about it. Now, if you know what's happening here, because you know what move I'm doing, you can probably see it going on. But the audience does not know what's happening. They aren't looking for something to happen. If you're doing this move well and smoothly, they will not catch it. One other thing to watch out for is when you're holding the cards, when you get nervous, people tend to tense up when they get a little nervous, like if they're performing a trick. When you tense up, you're going to be squeezing these cards too hard. You're not going to be able to separate those because you're going to be squeezing too hard. So be mindful of that. Make sure your grip doesn't tighten up on you, and then what's going to happen is you're going to try and do it, and you're not going to be able to get this one out, and you're going to end up with this. And the only way out of this is to put that back and say, oh sorry, let me separate those again, and you have to kind of reset and go again, which seems strange. You can kind of get out of it like as I just showed, but it seems a little suspicious. So at this point you've got your one of each color queens. Whatever color this is will be the ones on top. Now at this point, when you guys slide the queens in, you need to be careful about how you present this, otherwise you could create some suspicion with people. You need to do it about, I think the way let me try that again. I think the way you saw me do it in the performance is about what needs to happen. You grab this card here, because this does match. You just casually flash at them as you say we're gonna put the queens on either side of the aces. Don't say, as you can see here, we have the first red queen goes under the red ace, because if you emphasize the first one too much, they're going to want to see, the audience is going to want to see all of them, and you can't show them these two because they don't match. So I say we're going to put the queens on either side of the aces here, just kind of sandwich the aces in. So you see, just casually flash that one as you slide in. You have to tilt it up to slide underneath anyway, so it seems kind of natural that you show it to them. Then just casually grab these both at the same time and toss them on there. And then we're just sandwiching the aces in between. Again, just casually showing it to them as you slide it in. They saw this one, they saw the first one, they saw the last one. They didn't get to see the ones in the middle, but it was all very casual. They assumed that these are the correct ones because these were the correct ones. Because even if they don't process the thought fully in their mind, in the back of their heads, it's sort of like it doesn't do any good to swap these two if you're not going to swap these two. Plus, they don't actually know that that's what's going to happen with the trick yet. They don't know what the effect is until you show them at the end. So there's no reason for them to be too suspicious as long as you don't overemphasize the two that you show them, because then they're going to want to know why they didn't see these two. But if you do it all very casual as I showed you there, they shouldn't ask you anything unless they're just a heckler, in which case if someone's a heckler, they're a heckler. It doesn't matter what you do, they're going to come up with something to cause you a problem. That's what makes them a heckler. Then you just set these on top of the deck, and you proceed with the trick from there, but you're going to need to switch to part 2 because my videos keep running long when I try to do this all in one video and the file's too big to upload. So switch to part 2 now and I'll show you how to do the rest of the trick.